Hello once again, Niner Faithful, and welcome back to another episode of 49ers Playbook on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game. The 49ers gutted out a tough, grinding game against the visiting New Orleans Saints this past Sunday. The defense was absolutely phenomenal, and the offense did just enough to win. Sloppy play was the theme of the day. The offensive line struggled to contain the Saints' pass rush or open many holes in the run game. Receivers were not sharp on some of their routes, and Jimmy missed a few opportunities. Overall, the offense definitely underperformed, but the defense, on the other hand, looked like a championship-caliber defense. They stifled New Orleans' rushing attack, made Taysom Hill a non-factor, and tackled everything on the field like they were Reggie Bush after contact. Overall, they completely cut down New Orleans' offensive attack, just like the Lawnmower 4.0 can do to your bush, which you can find right now at manscaped.com, and make sure to use promo code JD49 to take advantage of the holiday sales going on. This episode is sponsored by Manscaped, and just in time for the Christmas season, you can make sure your Yule log is taken care of by checking out any one of the 3 packages for your package. They all include the Lawnmower 4.0 with skin-safe technology to make sure there's no unnecessary cutting, nicks, or mishaps. It's also waterproof to allow you to take care of all your grooming in the shower, which we all know the wifey greatly appreciates. You can get the basic set, which is the perfect package, all the way up to the platinum package, which has everything to take care of all your grooming needs. Be a good man and make sure you're getting well-groomed nuggets instead of lumps of coal for Christmas. That's manscaped.com, and make sure to use promo code JD49. Again, that's manscaped.com and use promo code JD49 today. You're watching Johnny Dell's Football Academy. The defense set the tone early with a forced fumble by Fred Warner. The Saints want to run a little counter run here, and one thing D'Amico Ryans did frequently in the game was slant the line and bring an edge blitz. This is a run blitz. In our scheme, our players are assigned gaps that can change depending on the play movement of the offense. By bringing a run blitz, you're predetermining those gap fits and hitting them hard from the snap. In this instance, Hufanga times his blitz perfectly off the edge, and it disrupts the play in the backfield. From there, the linebackers attack and Fred Warner punches the ball out. Then on offense, we get a big third down. New Orleans is going to bring Davis up on the line. This is to force Banks to stay to that side so they can get one-on-one matchups on the other side, which will give Cam Jordan a 1v1 with Mike McGlinchey. The alignment to the bottom reveals man coverage with 2 deep safeties, or 2-man, or what Kyle would call cover 55. What Kyle calls cover 5 is 2 deep and man under. With 5 defensive backs, it's called 55. And with Davis on the line, New Orleans has to run a pattern matching man coverage. So Davis will be responsible for the number 3 receiver out of the pattern, or the first in-breaking route or the least vertical route. Teams will do this so that we can't run a pick or rub play out of the close formation. The downside of this, you now have Davis trying to cover Deebo Samuel across the field, and Jimmy is going to take that matchup all day long. But the very next play, we'd see an omen of what was to come: sloppy play. Here we're going to try and run Deebo on a sweep. We're going to pull Trent Williams while having Ayuk on a crack block, with CMC leading around and try and get Banks up on the second level. At the snap, there's a mix-up here with Trent and Ayuk that lets Cam Jordan free upfield, who disrupts the play. But we had numbers. We all saw Deebo get a house call with blocking set up like this last week, but that's the difference between a touchdown and a negative play. After we get a first down on a 4th down attempt, we'll see some more sloppy play. So we're trying to run this concept we do sometimes where we'll run a counter off of a stick concept we run with 2 return routes. New Orleans was in 2 zone here, but there's some sort of issue with the spacing because I can guarantee you the dispersion of these routes is not supposed to look like this. Jennings took an outside release and Debo an inside release, and Jimmy's reading to that side, but they're bunched up. Create no stretch of the defense, and Jimmy ends up having to sail it out of the end zone. So on the next play, we're going to run a choice route with Kittle here and a corner route from Ayuk. Full disclosure, I can't tell you for certain what the coaching points here are. I can only assume by Jimmy's reaction after the play that 1, Kittle is supposed to read the corner, and if he bails on Ayuk's corner route, he flattens out down the goal line, and if the corner squats, he's supposed to curl this route off in between the zones. The other possibility is against 2 zone, he's supposed to cut this route out shorter to draw the corner up to give Jimmy more room to hit a layered throw over the corner, and that's where Jimmy's trying to go with the ball, and it is open, so remember this play for later, but I cannot tell you for certain that that's what's going on here. Back on defense, the fantastic play from the linebacking core has been a huge reason for the defensive dominance, both in the run defense and in coverage. So last week I covered the Palms coverage highlighting Mooney Ward. Here we're going to take a look at Dre Greenlaw as New Orleans is trying to take advantage schematically. So because New Orleans bunches up wide, Fred Warner has to shade to that side. Otherwise they can simply run the number 2 deep and get an easy 2-on-1. On the other side, Greenlaw lines up inside the number 2 because if the receiver has a quick breaking out route, Ward will squat. So his first responsibility is to cover the inside and then go Meg coverage, which is man everywhere you go. So to take advantage, New Orleans is just going to run the number 2 inside as Warner is shaded so far away. At the snap, he attacks the tight end and understands the coverage. If the number 2 were to break out, Ward will squat. So he plays sound defense, maintains his inside leverage, and attacks the route, taking it away. With the route taken away, Dalton looks to bail out of the pocket, and Greenlaw plasters to his man and forces the incomplete pass. That's really, really good work from a linebacker. And this forces 3rd and long, which the Saints don't convert. Then back on offense, we're again going to see what McCaffrey brings. It's not just the run game. Here we're trying to run this variation we run a lot versus 2 zone. We run a lot of smash concepts with a flat route and a corner route. So to keep that from being predictable, we'll run a variation, where instead of a corner route, we'll run swirl routes, which will break like a corner route but snap off. This is one way you attack a Tampa 2 defense when the safeties are attacking those corner routes hard. Here the hook defender does drop into the throwing lane and Jimmy is getting pressured quick, so he outlets it to McCaffrey for a first down. But let's all take a moment to appreciate Mike McGlinchey blocking grass like no one else. And then more sloppy play. We're going to run this play we've run a bunch over the years. We have a choice out paired with a short post. A lot of times we hit Debo on this, but the Saints are running cover 1 plug and have taken that away. My problem is with Kittle's route. With the formation, he's got some pick action, but I'd like to see him use it better. Attack outside sooner, force that defender off of his line, and get him in a trail position. Instead, by the time he breaks out, the defender has a good angle. It's not the best throw by Garoppolo either. This is the kind of stuff that has to tighten up. The plays are there. Then we have a huge missed opportunity. This is a play I highlighted in my McCaffrey preview video as a way I saw Shanahan using him, and here it is. A couple of things. One, Garoppolo has to hit this throw. Nothing I'm about to say changes that, so don't get all you're making excuses for Jimmy. But I've seen this route run from Debo, Hasty, Wilson, Mitchell, Mostert, Juice, tight ends. McCaffrey adds a hitch here in this route that he's not supposed to. This is a straight wheel route. The reason I bring that up is that Jimmy first has to look off the safety and then try and hit the throw. That's probably why the throw was so far out ahead of McCaffrey. That's what happens when you have routes like this with two guys who have only been running this play with each other maybe this week only. These are the things that have got to get straightened out within the next 6 games. End of story. And if Jimmy wants to change the narrative around him, he's got to hit these throws, period. Then back on defense after giving up a big explosive, we get a big stop for a loss on 2nd down. This is where you see the impact of a Chris Kosurik. This is the 2nd string interior defensive line of Ridgeway and McGill. New Orleans is trying to hit an off-tackle run here, and watch these two guys slip their blocks. Watch the timing of the footwork and the arm over technique. We'll play this back and forth a few times so you can see the timing here. That is coaching. It's not by accident that these guys have the same timing. This is like playing Madden when you have 2 players going through the same animation on the same play. But they get in the backfield and McGill gets a huge stop, and this official sees his life flash before his eyes. Then on a 3rd down, the Saints don't get the coverage they want over the middle and they check it down. And again, if you're gonna make teams throw it underneath the whole game, you've got to come up and make stops, and we do. But this has been a theme for weeks for the defense. Here again, check it down to Kamara. Against most defenses, he's getting the 1st down, but they swarm and Greenlaw gets there first to stop him short of the 1st down. And they end up getting backed up by a penalty and having to punt after this great pressure from Ebukam. He's going to split a double team even though he's trying to just set up a stunt. Man, it's been good to get this guy back. But a huge story throughout the game on offense was pressure. How much pressure the offensive line gave up. Here it's 3rd down and we're going to get Jennings wide open in Jimmy's favorite part of the field. Why didn't Jimmy get there? Pressure. First, Mike McGlinchey allows pressure to Jordan and it forces him to evade and climb the pocket. Then Banks doesn't pick up the stunt and Jimmy can't step up into the throw to Jennings. So he outlets it to McCaffrey short of the 1st down. On the next drive though, we hit an explosive on a corner post off of play action. I was surprised we didn't try more play action passes in the game with how aggressive New Orleans was against the run. When I was watching this game live, I actually thought we were about to hit the post corner off of play action based upon how New Orleans was playing some of our condensed sets, but Kyle runs the corner post and we hit it for a big explosive, and that's why he's a play caller and I am not. And then we get another chunk gain off of busted coverage by the Saints. Some of our struggles in the red zone was the result of good defense by New Orleans. Here, we're trying to run a play fake and hit McLeod in behind it, but New Orleans plays it well. On 4th and 1, we're trying to get Kittle on a pick play. We're going to motion him late, and this is an interesting variation on an old West Coast spider banana play, one of my favorite all-time plays. This is where Kyle is just so creative, and I could get really deep into the weeds on this, on the differences between the traditional way this is run and the variations Kyle puts on it, but the meat of the play is that you have a run fake to the throw side with a flat route, replacement block on the end with a cut block, a corner route, and a crossing route. It's all there, but Kyle does this in a way to get a pick versus man coverage. We're trying to draw the man defenders of Juice and Mitchell up over the middle as interference for Kittle's man. But the linebacker, Caden Ellis, does a really good job of recognizing what's coming and takes away Kittle's route. Jimmy sees a tiny opening, there's nowhere to go with the ball, it's 4th down, and he tries. But again, pressure. This kind of stuff is hard for me to wrap my head around. The Saints put 5 on the line, but we slide away from the 5th man in our protection, and they get a free rusher off the edge, and we're lucky this ball isn't a turnover. But Jimmy gets us moving with a big throw over the middle to Jennings against an 8-man coverage. Big time throw by Jimmy there, and a heck of a catch by Jennings in traffic. Then the Saints come out again in 2-zone, and Jimmy wants to hit Debo over the middle. But Davis matches him well, so he moves to the smash concept of a curl fade and hits Jennings again. Now, this is clearly illegal contact as Juice gets rocked by the corner here. You can see Kyle trying to point it out to the official, to no avail. Then Jennings again gets us set up well when he breaks Harris's ankles on this out route for a big gain and the penalty. Then we get a touchdown to Jennings. So the Saints are playing a form of man here where they're going to pass off a deeper route, Jennings on the corner route, so they can bracket anything underneath to the 3 receiver side, and come with a 5-man rush. So we're just going to have this same combo as I pointed out earlier with a flat route and a corner route. This time Jimmy throws the corner as he'll have Jennings one-on-one with Tyrann Mathieu. Heck of a play by Mathieu, but not quite good enough, and we get our lone touchdown of the game. But we could sit here for a while and talk about sloppy plays on the offense, but the big story of the game was the stellar play of the defense. So this was really interesting to me because we've seen Jimmy Ward in the slot pretty much full time this season. Here, we're going to drop Hufanga to the slot and put Jimmy Ward back at safety because we're going to bring some pressure with Hufanga. Dalton does a good job of throwing into the blitz, but again, tackling. They stonewall the play short of a first down to force a punt. Now that is the psych ward locking things down. Another thing we did really well was keep Taysom Hill from being a factor in the game. Again, it's great to have Ebukam back. They're running a quarterback power, and once Ebukam sees the guard pull, he's going to follow him down the line and go make a tackle short of the first down. Here, they're going to try and run a little read option with Taysom Hill, and again, look at the pursuit. These guys are playing their lanes perfectly. That's team defense. No one's playing out of position, and they're locking it down. Then D'Amico Ryans dials up pressure that forces a bad pass by Dalton, and the Saints miss the field goal try. Then Hufanga just makes an outstanding play. The Saints are trying to run a deep speedo concept to the boundary side, and it ends up drawing the coverage, and Kamara leaks out of the backfield. Look at the recognition, burst, and closing of Hufanga. This play looked impressive on the broadcast, but it's even more so from the coach's tape. If we take it back, if Hufanga doesn't make this tackle, there is no one, I mean no one back there. Then after a drive gets extended off of a roughing the passer call, Afunga forces a big fumble at the goal line. The big story was the big goal line stand for the last defensive series. The Saints are going to try and run a ton of interferences. They'll run a play fake, then run a receiver all the way across the field through all the traffic trying to create a rub. Now, full disclosure, I complained about the refs in this one. We are on the positive end of this here. Mooney Ward gets away with a hold of the jersey, but we're just going to call that a savvy veteran move. So knowing we got away with one in man coverage, we go 2-zone the next play and lock everything down. Bosa is just a beast. He splits the double team and forces Dalton to dirtball it. So now New Orleans is going to run a little China concept, and this is a great play by Gibson. On the broadcast, you saw the ball pretty much hit Hill in the face, but it's not easy to catch it when you have a defender's arms waving in the way. So that's great coverage by Gibson. On the last play, some have said Bosa got away with an early start, but if we watch it, he and the left tackle move pretty much at the same time, and it's only encroachment if the defender moves into the neutral zone prior to the snap. So Bosa didn't get a head start on the left tackle, they both started a little early. Bosa was just Bosa and ended the game. Well, that's it for this episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I do need your help in the comment section. If I'm able to put out a second video this week, I'm trying to decide which you would prefer to see. A video on Fred Warner and why him being the 9th highest voted linebacker is insane, or a video on D'Amico Ryans' defense in general. Put your vote in the comment section. A grinded out win is still a win and still counts at the end of the year towards the goal every team is pushing towards, the Super Bowl. The injury news on Elijah Mitchell is extremely disheartening, as the guy just got back from an MCL sprain and just got another one. Hopefully he's able to join the team for a postseason run. The sky's the limit for the defense, and the offense has a lot of room for improvement. I said last week the team has to start stacking good offensive performances together. They've yet to do it this season. It seems one game is high, the other low, but Jimmy G has been playing pretty well, not making the back-breaking mistake, and the defense has been lights out. The sloppy and disjointed play has to start coming together down the stretch of these last 6 games. There's some tough games to play in this stretch, and the team has a chance to really show who they are heading into the playoffs. But as is the case each and every year, health will be a huge factor in how it all turns out. We got a huge matchup this week as they take on the visiting Dolphins, who've been rolling with Mike McDaniel and Tua. So let's all put our best fan caps on and will the team to a victory. But until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and go Niners.